Welcome to Sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash and I'm joined by Johnny and Drew as we go through the 2020 NFL regular season win totals, and it's the turn of the NFC North. We've got the 9.5 Packers, the 9 wins for the Vikings, 8.5 Bears, and 6.5 Lions. Drew, there's nothing to choose between these four teams, and yet the Packers sit 3 games ahead of the bottom team, the Lions.
Yeah, and again, this was one where I had circled in the off season. Like, I can't wait to see what number they hang. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more aggressive because the Packers are due for a massive regression from last season. There's no way they're going to repeat that performance, and it's based I'm not talking about this based on the changes that they've made to their roster, because they really haven't made many changes. This is largely going to be the same team that trots back out there. They've lost a couple of key pieces on the on offensive line and in their defense, but overall, we're not talking about a major change. And this was a team that kind of had a youth movement coming up anyway. So, the Packers should be about as good from a numbers standpoint. But guess what? Their numbers last year had them as an 8-8 team. They managed to get the wins that they got, with a lot of luck, with a lot of fortuitous turnover, penalty luck. A couple of games where they were legit, like the first game against the Lions, where they were handed the game, based on some weird penalties. And, these kind of things aren't repeatable. And so this is a team that I think is due for a pretty significant correction. I think they're coming back to 8-8. Their schedule was easy last year. It's going to be much harder this year with the first place schedule. They're going to be put in a lot of high profile primetime games against some of the tougher competition on their schedule. And they're going to be disadvantaged quite a lot, I think. And Matt LaFleur, as a young coach, didn't show us much in the playoffs in terms of, how he really understands, how to win in this league. He knows how to script the first 15 plays. That's only going to get you so far. And they're going to go up against a much tougher schedule, and they're not going to have quite as much luck this year. So if anything, I'm looking under on the Packers, because I do think they come in right around 8-8.
Looks like this whole division, NFC North, is dominated by the D's. Donnie?
No, I think it's pretty apparent. You're looking at the Chicago Bears making a nice move for me. Are we getting an elite quarterback in Nick Foles? Probably not. But did you watch the Chicago Bears with Mitchell Trubisky? I remember a game last year where, whether or not you had a bet on the game, Mitchell Trubisky goes down, I think early in the first quarter and a half, and goes out with the injury. And if you gambled and bet the Bears, you were so happy that their quarterback left the game to get to Chase Daniels. That's where you were at with the Chicago Bears. Now at least you get a competent quarterback who's won in big spots that can play, throw, and catch, and say, let me lean on this defense, where a guy's running 10 yards behind the secondary. At least you can hit him here. If a guy's open in the flat, you don't airmail it into the seats. That's what we're going to get out of the Chicago Bears. The one thing also that we're seeing now coming out with the Darius Slay move to the Philadelphia Eagles is how much Matt Patricia is not liked in the locker room. You haven't built any. Yeah, you were with Bill Belichick all those years. You come over to Detroit. We're waiting for that next year. You added a lot of talent this year, and the bottom fell out. Now you're coming back with a quarterback that you're going to try to lean on again. We've seen this play out so many times when the locker room turns. That's not a team you want to bet on. But those 3 teams at the top end of it, and you talk about the Minnesota Vikings, who, if you said to me coming into the season, don't make any changes to your team and just put that same team that played last year out on the football field, you win the division. So what do they go? Downgrade their team, downgrade at wide receiver, give your quarterback another extension who was terrible in the playoffs, downgrade your defensive line, downgrade your secondary. It's amazing to watch some of these football teams operate when you come into the season saying, we don't really have to make a lot of changes. We were close last year. Let's add one more player, and they downgrade their team. You're also leaning on, and Drew brings up a good point, the Packers never spend any money. It is a shame. We should be able to write a book at the end of Aaron Rodgers' career and go, this guy made 1 Super Bowl? What the hell was going on in Green Bay? But that's the NFC North this year. Sneaky on the Bears this year, going over the team total, possibly winning. But that's only because all you have in Green Bay to me is Aaron Rodgers, and all you have in Vikings is a team that was good last year and downgraded this year. I'm looking for the next come up. That's probably going to be the Bears for me.
Yeah, I think this whole division, NFC North equals sneaky. I don't think we've got any confidence in any of the 4 sides. I don't think we know what we're going to get from any of the 4 sides, Drew. So I think it might just be a lean or just put a line through them all.
Yeah, and I generally agree with all of Donnie's points. And if I had to pick a winner today, you're putting me on the spot. I'm taking the Vikings. I lean slightly over with the Vikings, and it's not based on anything tangible at all. I guess I will disagree with one of Donnie's points. You said that they downgraded their secondary. I think cutting Xavier Rhodes was actually an upgrade.
Yeah.
And they got a couple. Their safeties are really, really good. So, maybe they get a young cornerback in the draft. Maybe they get a young wide receiver in the draft. Like those guys are there to be had in the draft, and they could make a couple of nice draft picks and be a pretty much the same team, more or less, that we saw last year. And the Bears, I still I don't get what they're doing at the quarterback position. Like the writing was on the wall. I feel like Matt Nagy made his point that that Trubisky wasn't going to be able to run like a complex offense, and still bringing Foles in is not the answer long term at all. And they've lost a couple of going back to the sneaky theme. There was a couple of sneaky good defensive players on this Bears team that are gone. They had a good defensive tackle who I thought played pretty serviceably next to Akeem Hicks, who they lose to the I think he went to the Lions in division. They lose Kwiatkowski, who was playing good linebacker. They lose him to the Raiders. So there's going to be a continued regression for this defense as they kind of have lost some of these parts. And the guys that they brought in free agency, Jimmy Graham, really? Like, why are we spending that money? I don't get it. Like the front office to me does not look like they have a solid plan. And I think you're gonna learn the hard way that they're gonna go down with the Mitch Trubisky ship this year. And as far as the Lions go, that is an absolute stay away, because I think Donnie nailed it. Patricia is not well liked in that locker room. He's bringing in all of these cast-offs from the Patriots. Yeah, that works really well. But to show me that any time that has ever worked well. So I think this is probably his last season in Detroit, and maybe Stafford as well.
I don't think the NFC North brings a lot of value to the NFL in general. If you think to yourself, unless you're a Packers, Vikings, Bears or Lions fan, nobody really cares. So we might as well join them, as we don't support any of them. So I thank you, Drew. I thank you, Donnie, and we'll see you next time.
They're going to shove it down our throats anyway. Always put those damn teams on primetime.
Yeah, we'll see them on a Monday night and we'll bet against them. Cheers, boys. See you soon.